Today, we're diving into a story that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a movie. It's about a hidden past, a shocking discovery, and a man who is living two completely different lives. Let's get right into it.
This quote, it really says it all, doesn't it? It comes from someone at the very center of this story. I mean, just imagine for a second. Finding out the person you married, the person you built a life with, is not who you think they are at all. That's exactly where this story begins.
So our story kicks off with an absolute bombshell. A woman discovers, through a friend no less, that her husband, a man named Brandon Beak, is a polygamist. Yeah, he was already married to someone else when he married her. Now, a discovery like that doesn't just end a relationship. In this case, it kicks off a huge court battle and starts to unravel a past that was buried for a very, very good reason.
This incredible personal betrayal, it just immediately makes you wonder, right? If he could hide a whole other life, what else was he hiding? Well, as it turns out, Brandon Beak used to wear a badge, and the secrets from his professional life, they might be even more shocking than his personal one.
Okay, so that brings us to our first section. We are going to start peeling back the layers on Brandon Beak's career as a police officer, a career that, as you'll see, ended in total disgrace.
So here it is. This is the core fact. Before the double life, before his wife discovered any of this, there was Officer Beak of the Inglewood Police Department, and his career, it came to a very sudden, very abrupt end in March of 2007. And that key word right there is terminated. He was fired.
So why was he fired? Well, this wasn't just some minor slip-up. The scale of this thing was staggering. He wasn't the only one. He was part of what was called a departmental purge of 7 officers. The official reason? They were accused of visiting massage parlors while on duty and covering for other officers doing the exact same thing. We're talking about serious misconduct tied directly to laws against prostitution and pimping.
But here's the thing. This story is so much bigger than just one officer's misconduct. Brandon Beak's case was really just a symptom of a much, much larger disease. It revealed a police department that was in a complete state of crisis. And that crisis, years down the line, would make it almost impossible for his wife to get to the truth.
And this didn't just happen overnight. You can see the whole department just unraveling. It started with some major red flags in late 2006. Then came the big purge in 2007 that Beak was a part of. Things got so bad they had to bring in a new chief just to try and clean house. And by 2009, the problems were so deep and so systemic, the U.S. Department of Justice had to step in and launch its own full-scale investigation.
And this crisis, it had deadly consequences. Look at this number, 5. Out of 11 people shot by Inglewood police between 2003 and 2008, 5 of them were unarmed. This wasn't just about corruption anymore. This was about a pattern of excessive and sometimes lethal force.
You know, this kind of dysfunction, it comes with a massive price tag for taxpayers. $8.6 million. And that's not the total. That's just the amount the city paid in one single settlement connected to a case involving some of those fired officers. This culture of misconduct had consequences that would ripple out for years.
So when the Department of Justice finished its big investigation, the findings were, well, they were damning. They found a department with completely broken policies, huge conflicts of interest, and a system that actually seemed designed to discourage regular citizens from filing complaints. It was official. The problems were baked right into the DNA of the department.
So what happens when a history this dark gets exposed? You'd think there'd be accountability, right? Well, in Inglewood's case, the answer was to try and erase it. This next part of the story is about a deliberate effort to just make the past disappear.
You have got to look at the timing on this. In 2018, a new state law in California was about to make police misconduct records public for the first time. But just weeks, literally weeks, before that law went into effect, the city of Inglewood destroyed hundreds of police records, including many from the exact time period we've been talking about.
And the result of that? Well, today, if you go looking for official records on Brandon Beak's police career, you basically hit a brick wall. This information vacuum isn't an accident. It is a direct result of that 2018 record purge. The past was intentionally scrubbed.
In fact, the information is so scarce, it is actually easier to find information about a completely unrelated guy also named Brandon Beak who lives in Toronto, Canada. Just think about that. The social media profile of some random civilian in another country is more accessible than the professional history of a disgraced police officer from California. That's what happens when you destroy public records.
But you can't erase everything. And that brings us to a really crucial tool in the legal world called the Brady List. It's basically a confidential list that tracks police officers who have a history of misconduct or lying. Officers whose credibility is so shot that prosecutors are legally required to tell the defense about it in court.
And this is the piece of the puzzle that survived the shredder. Despite all those destroyed files, we know one thing for sure. Brandon Beak is on the Brady List. This is official confirmation that his conduct as an officer was so problematic that his word is considered permanently compromised in a court of law.
So all of this, it just leaves behind this huge legacy of secrecy, right? And a lot of lingering questions, like how does a hidden institutional past like this actually affect real people today, in the present?
And this is where it all comes full circle. We're right back where we started, with the woman fighting a court battle against the man she thought was her husband. For her, this institutional cover-up has devastating, real-world consequences. I mean, how can she possibly find justice when the official history of the man she married has been systematically erased from existence?
It all leaves us with one final and really critical question. The records might be gone, the officers may have moved on, but when a city chooses to erase its own history of misconduct, who is actually left to pay the price for all that secrecy?